Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome to another trading session within the Zone Trader. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Today, we are tackling the last week of the trading month of February. It has been a very challenging week, but with every day, we learn. So, cheers to that. Cheers to learning. Cheers to growing. How's everybody doing? All right, we're getting situated here this morning. We have about 8 minutes before market opens. Let's go ahead and take a look at the NQ daily chart. So we have from Friday's candle, this is a strong engulfing bullish candle here. Not only that, it engulfed the prior 2 days candles. So very, very strong bullish movement on Friday. We had a bit of a sell-off overnight. Just a small one, retested the low of this body, held around 800 and has bounced back up. We're still underneath the 21 EMA, so we're not out of the woods yet. We are at support underneath at this levels down here, so strong possibility we get some more bullish action today. Let's look at the ES daily chart. Similar story here. We had that bigger bullish engulfing candle on Friday. Engulfed both Thursday and Wednesday's candles. The difference between the ES and the NQ is that we were able to close above the 21 EMA on Friday, whereas on the NQ daily chart, we're still underneath the 21 EMA. So, something to keep an eye on for sure today. And let's go ahead and take a look at the NQ 800 tick chart. You can see we opened right around 25,050. We sold off, and then we've since come back up. We're above VWAP at the moment. If we look at the 5-minute chart, we're above all the moving averages here, the 21 and the 8 and the 21. So very strong bullish movement at the moment. We have about 4 minutes left currently in this bullish trade right here. We're going to do what we did on Thursday and Friday, which is not trade the first 5 minutes of the opening bell to avoid any confusion, increase volatility, and let the market sort of figure out which direction it wants to go. See if we have any news today. So we do have news at 10 o'clock. Factory orders month over month. It is a yellow folder, so the volatility is low potentially. We'll still keep an eye on the 10 o'clock candle. Okay, we have less than a minute till opening bell. Okay, there goes the opening bell. We just hit target on, I would imagine 25,000 even is going to be the next target. Met with some potential resistance here. Okay, buyers are stepping in. Hit the bullish target. Just triggered bearish here. Just hit that bearish target. Retesting 25,000 even. Trigger lower right here. Also triggered bullish here. Just hit the target on the bullish trade. Stopped out the bearish one. Okay, retesting 25,000. All right, 5 minutes have passed. We are green lighted to trade. I'm not sure I want to take the bounce here. Yeah. Failure right there. Another potential bullish setup here as well. It is a bit of a battle zone. So let the buyers and sellers sort this out. Really no need for me to intervene at the moment. Okay, so the bearish trade sorted itself out. We hit the target on the bearish trade. Just triggered bullish here, but we are underneath all this resistance. So the bearish trade, or the bullish trade, stopped out as we suspected with that resistance overhead. Okay, this is a much stronger bullish candle because we've closed above 25,000. Still have resistance overhead. So I don't know how likely I want to take the 25,000 bounce here. Doesn't quite follow my rules, so. Okay, we're retesting 25 right here. So if I would have gone into it, I would have gotten into it right here. And then we would want to see a bounce up. We would have gotten stopped out. So yeah, I didn't follow my rules, so I didn't take it. We're in a very tight range right now, so both bullish and bearish trades are kind of off the table. Okay, we have this bearish trigger right here into support. So again, not a very good setup either. We did stop out the bullish trade. Okay, we hit the target on the bearish trade. We triggered again right here, retesting VWAP now. We'll just hit the target lower. I will potentially take this bounce here. Can we go up? No. Okay. It was worth a try. Looked like bulls wanted to defend VWAP. Instead, we get the rejection. Coming down to the 900 level now. Let's see what we want to do here. Oh, I wanted to short it. I missed it. It stinks. See if we get another shot at it. What sucks is if we would have gotten it the first time, we would have gotten 15 points. Instead, we get stopped out. So that stinks. Looks like we're trying to build some sort of support down here. but I could be wrong. We'll try to buy it at 900 to hopefully we tag it at 9 and bounce up and retest VWAP. We got like 5 points on that, maybe 5 or 6 points. Okay, instead we trigger lower. We also trigger higher. A lot of indecision at the moment. We will try to buy it at 68.50. Let's see if buyers want to defend this level here. No. Okay. That was kind of what I was hoping for when I was looking to buy it down here. Instead, we got that rejection. Okay, let's see where we're at. Okay, so we triggered this bullish trade here, but we have VWAP and all this resistance overhead. So not ideal at the moment. We also triggered bearish here, and I think we just hit target. So, yep. Okay, so we triggered lower here. We'll try a short at 900. Doesn't look like it's... Wow, the buyers just came in very aggressive there. All right. Okay, we finally hit the bullish target off of that 946 candle. See what this next candle wants to do. See if I'm shorting it here. Let's see if we can get that rejection. Okay, I got maybe, I don't know, like 6 or 7 points. No, we triggered higher. So I really don't know what we should be doing here. I should have gotten in, honestly, and I would have gotten stopped out. Yeah, I would have gotten stopped out. So back to VWAP. Doesn't look like it wants to hold. Okay, we're underneath VWAP now. Still in that bearish trade from up here. It's a lot of mixed signals, to be honest with you. Okay, so the bearish trade just hit target. Now what are we gonna do? Potentially getting another signal to go bearish again, but I don't know if I like it. we would have shorted at 27.50, and we would have gotten like maybe 5 or 6 points. All right, it's 9:55. We have about 5 minutes before the 10 o'clock news. There's a ton of indecision here. All right, well, that worked. That would have worked if I would have gotten in. It's okay. I'm trying to be more patient today with my trading, so. Question is, do I want to get back? Do I want to try to get into it here? At 27.25 for another potential rejection? We'll give it a try. Move it to break even just in case. See if it wants to fail. There we go. That was a nice trade. Not going to try that again. We got news in 3 minutes. And I would have gotten stopped out. Yeah. So glad I did not try that again. Technically speaking, the trend line would start from here. Excuse me. Okay, another bearish signal here, but we got news in 2 minutes. We are in this area of support with this upward trend line, and the measured move is underneath 900. So those are all various obstacles for that bearish move. So I'm going to pass on this one. All right, we got about 10 seconds till the news. Let's see what we do here. All right, there's 10 o'clock. Did hit the target. Let's see what we want to do from here. We have this cluster of resistance overhead, especially on the 5-minute EMA. So I can't really be taking anything bullish at the moment. Did trigger higher. We will track it. Did hit target. Wow. Okay. That's pretty amazing. All right, we busted through this resistance, VWAP. Now we're working our way up to 950. With some rejection. Triggered lower, but we're right at VWAP, so this is a very tricky area. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If you go to the 5-minute chart, there's the 8 and 21 EMA cluster right above our heads. Makes it very, very tricky. So I'm not confident in taking this bounce here off of VWAP because I have those 5-minute EMAs up over our heads. You could see we're rejecting here. So it's just a very, very tricky zone for both buyers and sellers, so I'm just gonna let them sort it out. I'm trying to take higher quality trades, so we're still in that bearish trade here from the 10:01 candle. Good morning, Tyler. I just saw your comment. I'm sorry to hear that, bro. It's been a very, very, very tricky morning. I've been trying to sit on my hands, to be honest with you, just because of how tricky it is. How was your weekend? Did you have a good weekend? Wow. Instant rejection. Okay, so I'm looking to buy it here. Can we get the bounce up? Doesn't look like it. Okay. Can we get the move down? It's another battle zone, it looks like. Okay, we got it. That's great. Okay, I missed my bullish entry here. It's fine. Do we have enough room anyway? Barely. That would have been 15 points. Yep. We just got a ton of snow unexpectedly yesterday. Wasn't supposed to be a very big forecast, but we ended up getting 5 inches or something like that. I'm glad your weekend was good. I am in the Washington, D.C. area. Northern Virginia. Like 25, 30 minutes south of D.C. We normally don't get a lot of snow here. We do get snow potentially every winter, but not a lot recently. Wow, that is a very strong bearish candle here. We'll measure it, but it's not a trade I want to take. We almost hit target. That's crazy. Sellers are very aggressive today. We are potentially getting some sort of bullishness trade here. Missed it by a tick, maybe. Yeah, I missed it. All right, this is another trigger, but we got 900 in the way, so let's see how we do here. Yeah, there's that rejection off 900. And the trigger lower. I don't think I want to take it bearish either, so it's like kind of stuck between both levels. Buyers are trying to transition this thing back up into an uptrend. They did break this high up here. What I forgot to do was move my golden ruler to here. Yeah. Bullish trade stopped out. We just hit the bearish target. Okay, we're gonna wait and see what this candle wants to do. Honestly, I don't feel comfortable taking trades in either direction. There's obstacles in both ways, so. I'm gonna check the volume real quick. Volume's still healthy. And the reason why is because we just really slowed down. Maybe because we're in that tricky zone. And there's a lot of indecision, so potential consolidation area here. We did trigger higher, but again, there's resistance overhead, right? Yeah, price action today has been really, really tricky. Looks like we just triggered this candle upwards. Gonna get a new trend line now that goes like this. So if we look at the 5-minute, you can see we're also underneath this 8 EMA that's been acting as resistance. We have 900 that's acting as resistance. Okay, we just broke above 900. See if sellers are going to step in here. That's what it looks like. All right, there we go. We finally tagged the target, but this was not a very good setup in the first place. let's just see what the next candle wants to do. Retesting VWAP now. This is so close. I don't know. Probably shouldn't take it because of my downward trend line. So, and I'm glad I didn't take it. That would have been a stop loss. I'm trying to follow all my rules today, not just some of my rules. I will mark out the trade though. I mean, none of these trades have been like A+ setups. This becomes this trend line now. This did trigger lower as well, but we have support underneath us. It's like we don't have room to go in either direction. There's no room to breathe for price action. So the bullish trade stopped out. Now the bearish trade is still in progress. Getting another potential bullish setup here, but again, there's just no room. It didn't trigger, but and 900 didn't hold either. And we hit the target on that bearish trade. So this bullish candle this is the signal candle. This would have been your trigger candle if you would have broken this candle to the upside. This candle triggered because this candle broke this candle to the upside. You see the difference? This candle never triggered this candle to the upside. This candle did trigger this candle up. And by trigger, I mean break the wick and go up. Does that make sense? No, not necessarily, Tyler, but I also know that there wasn't enough room for this trade to go because the measured move is beyond VWAP. So that's why I didn't take it at the 900 bounce there. If I'm following my rules to the letter, I wouldn't have taken this trade even prematurely because there's just no room for this measured move to go. Because VWAP's in the way. That's why I've avoided a lot of my trades today. Like this trade here technically has room to go, but we have this upward trend line that could potentially act as support. This bearish trade here. So I would have shorted it right around 95. I would have gotten probably stopped out. But again, I'm following all of my rules today. So I drew this upward trend line here. This bearish candle is still above this upward trend line. And this upward trend line is acting as support. And the better area to probably short this would have been 900 anyway. But you have these two EMAs in the way. So we're running into a lot of problems today because we have EMAs, trend lines, levels all over the place on both the bullish and bearish side. So it makes it for really tricky price action. If you're talking about the 1020, are you talking about the 1023 candle? This one right here? In general, there needs to be nothing in the way of your measured move of the signal candle. It makes it for a higher probability setup. And today, that has not been the case because there's been something always in the way of each of these triggers. Let's take this strong bullish candle, for example, 1024. We didn't take this one either, bounce at 900, because the measured move is beyond the VWAP and beyond this high up here. So this is not a good setup, even though this is a strong looking candle. Okay. This bearish setup right here is an okay setup, but you have this trend line in the way. So we got to pass on this setup as well. And we did. And so now we're technically in this trade right here that it just hit target. But you had the trend line in the way here too. So I wouldn't have taken, if I'm following all of my rules, I wouldn't have taken this trade either. The goal is to take a trade at a key area and for the measured move of the signal candle to have no obstacles in the way. Zero obstacles. If there is one obstacle, you got to ask yourself, is that obstacle a weak obstacle or a strong obstacle? And sometimes it's okay to take that trade if there's just one obstacle. But if the obstacle is very strong, like a VWAP or like a 100 level, I will say no. But if the obstacle might be like a 21 EMA, maybe I might take it. It just depends on the context. So right now, the next area of interest is going to be this 865 level, right? And I don't think the measured move, if we're trying to take a bounce to go back up, I don't think the candle that's going to form here, if we hold, the measured move is going to be potentially greater than these two EMAs right here. So I don't know if I want to take that. We haven't tested the standard deviation level yet, but let's just see. Let's just see how this candle forms. So this candle is not a signal candle at all. I need it to come down and actually touch standard deviation level. A real trigger is a break. A real trigger is if you're taking it off of a measured one-to-one move. But sometimes we take the trades prematurely in anticipation of that break. Statistically speaking, that's why we are only risking very little, right? 6 points. But if you're going to do a measured, if you're going to do a one-to-one system, which is what the original system was based off of, which by the way, we're not doing that today. I'm just saying you need to look at the measured move of the signal candle and make sure that it actually has room to go. and you're trying to take it in a little bit earlier off of a key level where you think it's going to bounce, and kind of go from there. So let's take this candle, for example, that's forming right now. It's going to close above. I'm not going to take this bounce here because the measured move, even though it hasn't triggered yet, the measured move has junk in the way to the upside. It has these two EMAs in the way. So I'm not going to take this candle. And now we're going to wait for this next candle, see what this candle wants to do. This candle looks more bearish, but now it's holding. So now I'm going to measure it. Like, do we have room to go to the upside? Now it's actually closing underneath. So the question is the other way around. Do we have room to go to the downside without any obstacles in the way? And the answer is no, because I have this low right here that I've marked out. I have this trend line here, and I have 850. These are three potential areas of support. If I didn't have those things in the way, I would have taken the short right there at 64.25 and would have gotten at least, well, I don't think I would have gotten anything. Doesn't look like this trade is working. And there's a stop loss. So if you're going to obey all of the rules, you got to make sure that the signal candle, the measured move of the signal candle, has enough room for it to go hit your target. Even though you're getting in earlier, you're not taking it at the break of the candle. So here's another example. This is a very strong bullish signal, right? But look at what we have in the way. 900. Do I want to take this trade if I'm following all of my rules? No. If 900 wasn't in the way, I would have bought it down here on these at these EMAs, and it would have worked. I think we would have hit our 15 points. But if I'm legitimately trying, but look at 900. 900 is acting as resistance, right? If I'm legitimately trying to follow all of my rules, I need to make sure that the runway is clear. That's the analogy I like to use. If you're a pilot about to take off, you want to make sure that the runway has no obstacles in the way. Zero obstacles in the way. Which sometimes can be frustrating because you're like, oh man, this trade would have worked. Yeah, but a lot of the other trades that we would have tried didn't work. And so you're trying to increase the probability of the trades working, number one. Number two, you're working on your patience. Number three, it does suck to see mediocre setups work. And you're like, man, I should have got into that trade. But that's going to develop bad habits. And that's what sort of happened to me the last couple of weeks. I was taking a ton of mediocre setups, and they kicked my butt. And I'd rather just be more patient and take higher probability setups. I'm taking fewer trades this way, but the trades that I am taking, from a statistical perspective, have a higher probability of working. No, it should be based off the actual, it should be based off the candle. It should be based off the measured move of the signal candle. Trying to see where we're at right now. So we're currently in no man's land. So here we're setting up for a trade that does have room. Okay, we have room to take this because it closed underneath all of the here. It hasn't officially triggered yet, but I am anticipating we could potentially trigger, and I don't mind taking it here at 850 for a rejection lower. And if it doesn't trigger, I cancel this trade. So it did trigger lower. Now the question is, can we come back up to 850, get us in, and fail back down? That's the premise of this trade. And you could see there's nothing in the way. Zero obstacles in the way for the measured move to work. Like, this should be a slam dunk trade for sellers, because there's no potential areas where buyers would want to step in here. At least I don't think. Looking at it. Yeah, our overnight low is also down here, so the target is probably going to be the overnight low, 807.50. So now I delete all of the old trend lines that don't make sense anymore. Okay, we got buyers here. I got stopped out, but that was actually a very legitimate setup. And you're going to get stopped out sometimes, even on really good legitimate setups that you wait a long time for. I thought that was like a very good A+ setup. So now we have this bullish trade, but look at the measured move of this bullish trade. Lots of resistance. And so bounce off 850 would have worked, but it's still a mediocre setup. This triggered lower. And it hit target, but there was nothing we could have done about this one either. There wasn't really room for this one to work. Yeah, you're welcome. I know this is kind of complicated, and with today's price action, it just hasn't been easy. So we're still technically in this bullish trade. This bearish trade worked. It hit target right there. So we need to see what this candle wants to do, if it gives us another setup to go bearish. So this is the potential signal candle for the bearish move here, if it holds underneath 850. I don't know if we have enough room to go. We do have that trend line underneath us. So we do have room. So if we can get this candle to sort of hold like this, now it's not holding. It's kind of escaping. See, now it's not a decent setup anymore. Just because the potential measured move here is beyond this trend line that could act as support. The runway is not clear. And we would have gotten not stopped out. Stop dot would have been 56. But it doesn't look like it's gonna work, you know? No, this trade also never triggered, so we delete this measured move, and it's going to be based off potentially this candle now if it triggers to the downside, but it doesn't look like it wants to do that. And I'm going to try my best to follow my own rules so that you guys can get it. Because when I start not following my own rules, and I'm basically destroying my own level of consistency. So this trade is huge. It's like 24.5 points, 24.75 points. It technically broke this trend line, so I can delete this. So then if it does come back up here to 850 and it hasn't hit its measured move yet, we could potentially look to take it. The only thing that is a little worrisome is that the measured move is slightly underneath the standard deviation level, and it's underneath the overnight low. But the sellers have established that they are very much in control. At this point, like, I don't even know if I want to take it at 850. If it comes back up. It's taking way too long to come back and retest this zone. And I think by the time we revisit the zone up here at 850, we could be met with more bullish than bearish momentum. But let's just see. Okay, we're getting some buyers here. or attempt at some buying quickly met with some selling. Okay, we're so close to that zone. We technically did trigger up. I don't like that it didn't come back up to actually 850 and reject. This is the move I wanted to see happen once we got in. I wanted to cancel this order, to be honest with you. But let's just see what happens. I'm glad I didn't. All right, it worked. But I hope you understood my thought process as we were waiting for this trade to. The only EMA that was in the way was just the 21. And remember what I said earlier was sometimes I will take it with just one thing in the way depending on the strength of that obstacle. And this is the weakest obstacle in my book is this EMA in comparison to all the other EMAs that were in the way, right? So we have rejection here at 850. We had the 34 EMA that was in the way. And we had potentially the standard deviation level. These are all things that are working downwards in price, like pushing price back down. And so it's a game of momentum. It's a game of forces acting on the body of the price, right? And so I will say this, Tyler, I don't think if remember I said I don't know if I wanted to really keep this up. I almost took it off, but I decided to just keep it on and let's just see what happens. Right now, we're also in this very, very much a downtrend, right? You could see it here. High, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, and so low, lower low, lower low, lower low, and so I wanted to potentially continue taking this trade off of this trend that we're seeing. That 21 EMA probably ideally shouldn't have been there. It would have made it a much better setup. The only other reason why I also decided to get into it is because I saw that when we got into this area, there were sellers that brought this thing back down. Then we brought it back up. So I had a little bit more confidence and I think it was going to go back down. But even at the end of the day, you still might take A+ setups like we did here with this candle. We shorted it here. There was nothing in the way and it didn't work. And so sometimes you're going to take the best trades possible anyway, and they don't work. And sometimes you take, I wouldn't really call that a bad trade by any stretch of the imagination. I thought the context was very good, especially because we were in this downtrend. I would probably rate this trade like a B+. I wouldn't trade it like an A plus setups. The EMA would probably be the only thing that made it a B plus. Although, if you are keeping track of your trend lines too, we still haven't hit the overnight low, so we would have technically drawn this trend line, this new trend line, since we had a legitimate pullback here with this candle. As you can see, we'll see what we're going to do down here at this level. This could potentially act as support, the trend line I just drew. I don't know, trading can be, I'm trying to simplify it as much as I can, especially with my rules. And if you remember, I think I used this analogy maybe a few weeks ago, but trading is like a body of water, or price action in the market is like a body of water, and you just have to use your own constraints and guide it accordingly. Here's another potential setup short, but this standard deviation is in the way, so I would not take that. In fact, I probably should have shorted it at the standard deviation level, not at 800, and it would have worked. So I missed this one, but that's okay. I'm fine with that. So we're technically in this bearish setup here that hasn't hit target yet. We have broken the overnight lows. So the next potential level of interest that we would be drawing anything off of is going to be this low here from Friday's low. So I'll go ahead and draw that trend line now. And I don't know if I want to short it here at 800 because we have the standard deviation level in the way. So this one I'm just going to pass, even though it looks like it wants to work to the downside. I could be wrong. Because at some point the buyers are going to say enough is enough. We are at a good level. We want to start buying it back up. I don't know where that level is yet. We've broken every single support level on our way down. Okay, looks like we're retesting this upward trend line. We might even break it and hit the target here. All right, we just hit target. Now I think the next level of interest is going to be 750. Delete this line, delete this line. Hindsight now, can you see how a lot of the trades that we were encountering earlier on when market open were in these zones that had obstacles in the way in both directions. So we had a lot of junk here, and then we had a lot of junk here, and then we had a lot of junk here around VWAP. We had a lot of junk here around 1020. And now we're escaping all those zones. And so there's really nothing that is keeping price from falling at the moment. I'll draw some new trend lines as well. We have this very aggressive trend line here. And so that's all you can really do, is try to follow your rules. Know that when you win, it's going to be more than twice as what you lose. Give yourself a chance on both sides of the math. Make sure that you're entering and the trade that you are taking makes sense from context perspective and from a measured move. And then the math just starts adding up in your favor. I really enjoy having you on here so I can actually explain all this. And I am working on a course, so it'll be vividly explained in the course. So all right, so we broke this. We have this new, we have this trend line now, which is going to keep us from potentially taking a bullish bounce here. This trend line I just drew. Depends. Let's see if there's any room. We do have a little bit of room. We'll try it. Oh, wow. All right, can we go up? I don't really like this trade anymore. Looks like it wants to fail, but yeah, that sucked. So now we're going to try to take this trade the opposite way. And hope that the sellers come back down. It's definitely a battle zone, it looks like. And that sucks, but that was actually a very good setup. 2 stop losses in a row like that kind of suck within 1 minute. Kind of erasing all of our progress. See what it wants to do here. Hey bro, that's really good still. Just figure out what you need to tweak and keep going, you know? You know what's interesting is that had I had my stop loss actually above this candle here, we would have hit our target and not gotten stopped out. But you can't think like that. I don't like moving my stop loss too much. You've done pretty well for having such a difficult trading month with the price action. Has not been easy, so pat yourself on the back. You're getting there. Looks like 700 is going to be our next area of interest. See what it wants to do here. Notice we have a lot of room to go back up. So if we do get a setup at 700 bullish, we will take it. It depends on the size of the candle. I would have taken it bullish here, but I could see that we're breaking down, so I'm just passing. And now we're at the third standard deviation level, which is a very extreme extension. So we could potentially start seeing some buyers here. All right, so we're going to buy 700 if it comes back down and gets us. It's like so close. Okay, can we go up now? This is not looking good, to be honest with you. I want to see some buyers really step in here. They have to take a stance. Okay, doesn't look like they want to take a stance. Oh boy. We're going to go short now. missed it, I think. Yep. Bearish trade worked. I really thought the bullish trade was a good setup. Sucked that it didn't work. We're going to try the bullish side again. Guess I'm being a little stubborn here. This definitely did not follow my rules. We do have the EMA and the trend line in the way. Ay, ay, ay. We will take the short at 700 though. Does it want to come back to 700? Alrighty, they already hit target, so we might start seeing some buyers here. This is the low from Friday. Let's see what we do here. Do we get rejection at 700 or not? Okay, we're getting a potential breakout to the upside. Let's see if it wants to go up. This is another mediocre setup. Ugh. I think I'm forcing the bullish moves. But I feel like it's gonna go up. I'm just maybe not giving it enough wiggle room. We do have those EMAs in the way though, so. All right, let's just see what's gonna happen here. See what it wants to do. We're gonna go short. One already worked. Yeah, this was a bad setup. Looking back at it, I forced that trade. This was a good setup, but I didn't get in. Missed me, literally. There's another type of setup that this is going to be a stop loss. Ugh. Okay, well, that did not work. This is the setup I was looking for, this candle right here. All right, this is the setup. So we're gonna play it a bunch of different ways. We're gonna short it here, and we're gonna short it up here. if it wants to come up. Okay. See if it comes back to the 50% pullback. We'll short it here as well. Now I need it to come down. All right. That was actually a decent setup. I even gave it more wiggle room. It just did not work. Back at 700 now. Now we triggered up. Can we get continuation? See if we can go back up again here. It's hesitating. There we go. Okay, we hit target. This looks like we're transitioning back up, right? Okay, I would like for it to come back down here to these two EMAs. See if we can get a bounce up. Let's see what we do with these EMAs here. This is where I want it to go. The bounce would have worked, but there's the bullish signal. Hit target. Golden ruler moves up. All right, we might have a potential bullish setup here if we can close above 750. It doesn't look like it. All right, can we get the close above 750? Okay, this is going to be our next bullish setup here. If okay, see if it wants to come down, get us and blow back up. It might just escape us, but we'll see. We shall see. Just a little tiny pullback, get us in and go back up. Okay. Or just go without us. It did pull back 50% and went. Okay, we just hit target. So we didn't get the pullback we were looking for. Okay. All right, let's see what we do here at the standard deviation level. Most likely shorting it at this point. All right, let's see. Let's see what it wants to do. Oh boy. Can we come back down? No. Okay. Did not expect that, to be honest with you. That's what I was expecting with this candle here. But it sucked. We got stopped out. by less than a point, and then we were able to re-enter it, but yeah. If it comes back up, we haven't quite hit target. So if it comes back up, I might get back into it. We'll see. All right, there's a target. Target hit. Might put a buy order right at 750. There is a 5-minute 8 EMA there. Let's just see. All right, can you get me in? Did it not get me in? There we go. Okay, we get the bounce. Keep going higher. Let's go. Let's get those 15 points. You can do it. I believe in you. There we go. There we go. 15 points. All right. I anticipated that because of the 5-minute chart. Show you what I'm talking about. Right here. This EMA. Okay, now we're in the middle of this bullish trade here. Okay, we hit the target. Question is, what do we do with the standard deviation level? Price action today has been really slow. Might try here. See if it wants to go up. Okay. Moved it to break even. It's a very tight range, so I don't really want to give it a lot of room to come back down. See if it wants to go up. No. Okay. Well, it was worth a try. Looks like it's gonna work. Okay. That's okay. That is okay. We're in a very tight range here anyway. I didn't want to risk it because this is what I was afraid it was going to do. This is what I'm looking at on the 5-minute. We're kind of trying to create potential hold of this 80 EMA and continue going higher. Get the rejection off that standard deviation level though. So we're kind of like sandwiched in between these two levels. All right. I wanted to take the bounce there, but we're kind of oscillating back and forth between these two levels. See if we can go back up. Not going to give it a lot of wiggle room. Okay. We were originally in this bearish trade, and then we triggered this bearish trade. Yep. We stopped out this bullish trade. What a mess. Feel like we're getting this bullish uptrend is breaking down now. Bears trade hit targets. All right, this candle that's forming right now, we're gonna see what it wants to do. Okay. We're gonna go bearish here. It wants to come back up. We're gonna move the stop loss slightly above this area here. See if we can get that failure. Moving it to break even. Don't like the hesitation. And I'm glad I did. All right, well, let's see, this candle right here looks like it wants to go up. Problem is, we have all these EMAs in the way. So I would have normally bought it here at 750. Let's see what's gonna happen. I don't like this trade, so. And our stop loss would be at 44. We would have gotten stopped out. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't get into that trade. And I can't take this bearish either because we have this trend line that's forming now. This price action today has been really tricky. think I might be wrapping it up here soon. It's been a really tricky day. Lunchtime is around the corner. I might come back in the afternoon and continue trading. As of right now, we were up nicely today, around $400. We're currently down $340, not including fees. Looks like buyers are defending this area here. But we just have all this resistance overhead. Just a very tricky zone. You can see we're met with rejection with these wicks. This is a bearish signal here, but we are still respecting this trend line right here. Just not a lot of room in either direction. We finally stopped out this bullish trade here. Still respecting this upward trend line. Starting to break out though. Let's see if we can get continuation and move back down. All right, guys, it's noon. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Win rate today, not so good, 43%. We had some tricky situations that we got caught up in that didn't work out. We took some 2 A+ setups as well that also didn't work out. We were up earlier on the day, and then we just took some stop losses and ended the day red, and that's okay. We're gonna go ahead and potentially come back this afternoon around 1 or 2 o'clock Eastern and see if we can trade the afternoon session. Hope you guys are doing well, having a great start to your Monday, and I'll talk to you guys either this afternoon or tomorrow. Have a good one. Have a good one, Tyler.